Hello, everyone. John Donnelly is my name from Your Holistic Academy, and I have a very special guest on our show today, Esther Moser. How are you doing today, Esther?
I'm good. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for inviting me to this platform. I'm
It's
really
great.
excited about having a chat with you.
It's great, Esther, and I'm delighted to talk to you. And I guess we probably want to talk about your Wild Atlantic Women. Is really your program. That's a fascinating heading, Wild Atlantic Women. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, it's the name came because I live near the wild Atlantic. I love the wild Atlantic, always did. Live here in the west of Ireland for the last 20 years now. And I had plans in 2019 to go traveling as well. So I thought, how do I combine this with my work? And the Wild Atlantic Women was in the back of my head for quite a long time. So I thought, that's great. I'm in Ireland in the summer and I run women's circles and retreats and workshops. And in the winter, I go to Portugal because that's along the Atlantic as well, and maybe bring women with me. And had all these fancy plans and everything wonderful. And the beginning of January, we did the new website. Well, and then came COVID-19.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, great. Better come up with a plan B. Part of the plan B was part of the website as well. I'm a psychotherapist and a coach. So one-to-one work was already available through the website. But it has become really clear in the last couple of months, okay, this needs to go bigger. This needs to go further than just in this one-to-one work. And a part of me is still kind of a little bit shy on making too many plans and creating new ideas. So I've become a little bit careful in that, but still hold the torch for, okay, hopefully one day that it will be possible again to, as women have done for thousands of years, we meet up again and bring the power together in person and not just with those little square boxes that we are tied to at the moment.
I guess women in leadership, Esther, is your sort of the work, most of the work that you do, women in leadership.
Yes, and I have to specify that very much because as a rather introverted introvert, I have always shied a little bit the going out. I've really retrieved over the last 20 years a lot into running my classes, working one-to-one with women a lot, supporting women giving birth is another part of my work. So I have never made it into companies, into leadership. That was never my intention. But I have worked with a lot of women in high management positions. And over the years, I just realized, yes, they're really good in their jobs, but they're really not so good in the leadership from within. The leadership, who is leading in there, and how is this team in us? And we are a whole community. There is a part of me who is a mother. There is a part of me who is a businesswoman. There is a part of me who is the introvert. All these parts, they communicate like a community. And so who is the leader and who takes care of this community that is the foundation of anything we do outside? And if the two are not, the outside and the inside world are not in harmony, we are not authentic, to use this big word, which is a big word. So we are not congruent. To use more a word that is used in the NLP, are you congruent what you are doing? I'm sometimes not congruent when I get up in the morning, because I would prefer to stay in bed and read a book.
Sure.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
that's the things. Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess it's focused on that balance in life, Esther, for especially in for women who take those strong leadership roles. How do they find the balance between their professional career and what sort of drives them from within? What's the essence of who they are, if you like?
For me, in this process of the last 2 years on working on that process, what is now the Wild Atlantic Women programs, it has become more and more clear what we really need, and I'm not excluding myself of that. It's something that I always need to remind myself: come back to the basics, come
Yeah,
back to the basics of who am I, how grounded am I in this life, in my body, um, how do I deal with my creativity, how do I empower myself and others, how am I in my heart, how to express myself. So I use this wonderful model of the chakras of the yoga. I'm a yoga teacher, so it's part of my DNA almost.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
so to ask ourselves and to get back, to take the time to get back to these questions really, and not saying, oh yeah, I've done that 10 years ago. In these 10 years we have changed, and in these
Sure.
10 years other things have become more important. How are our values? You know, I make, once a year I go back to my values, and I've noticed my values have changed. My values are not exactly the same anymore as when I was 30. So what does this mean actually? And then I sit with my internal community and we have a chat. And if
Yeah,
there are conflicts, I use EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique, for the last 15 years, which I find an incredibly powerful, beautiful, elegant technique. It works really fast. So that's how I deeply believe the wild one in every woman can come more to the forefront. And the wild one isn't the crazy bungee uh, jumping around. I just would like to read that quickly. I'm sure most most women definitely, but also a lot of men are familiar with the Jungian author Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote the book about almost 20 years ago, Women Who Run with the Wolves.
yeah,
So
yes,
that beautiful collection of stories, of metaphors. And she has such a wonderful way of, such a warm, heartfelt way to speak the truth. Especially now that she is in her crone age, it's beautiful. But anyhow, she describes, so what is the wild woman? From the viewpoint of the archetypal psychology as well as from storytelling tradition, she is the female soul. So uh, this is really what I want to achieve for women. What I want to offer as an opportunity is to come back to our soul purpose.
yeah,
Uh, and for that, we need to do some work. It's
yeah,
not, there are not the quick solutions. Um, so to support women in doing that work, as I said before, I've worked for many years with around. I'm a pediatric obstetric and neonatal nurse in my last life or somewhere. So, and trained with hypnobirthing. So I've supported women through birth a lot in my life, and it's still one of my favorite things to do.
yeah,
Um, but it's also the metaphor of birth. I find incredibly powerful and helpful. It's really to see if we have um, an intention where are we in this intention? You know, the baby may have the intention to be born at one stage. That's great. Is it still up there somewhere floating and contemplating the idea, or is the head already engaged and it's kind of getting ready? Um, kind of, really? I'm not so sure. It's nice and cozy in here. Do I really? Yeah. And we all have these internal talks when we make another step into a new situation. So, or are we just stuck? Are we stuck and scared and are afraid to die? Like a lot of people, a lot of women are really freaking out at the moment because all old fears are surfacing. I never had as many clients with panic attacks
Mm.
as in the last half a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite, yeah, quite scary sometimes, you know.
And do you connect that to the COVID situation, or is it something different?
I think the COVID situation has brought it up.
Yeah,
It's the trigger. Um, for me, panic attacks really often you can lead them back to the birth experience. Maybe just I was just recently talking to a woman who, in a half sentence, said, "Oh, her baby has been born 12 months ago." And I immediately made a mental note and then asked her and said, "Okay, how was the birth of your baby?" And she said, "Oh, it was barbaric." Which means she most likely still carries this trauma, and then it needs a few other ingredients, and suddenly it materializes into a panic attack. This is
yeah,
one example. It can have loads of other things, but
yeah,
it's also interesting really to ask people, what do you know about your own birth?
yeah,
Uh, how was your own birth? And if the own birth was very dramatic, it can have effects for the rest of your life. So
yeah. That's really interesting. Esther. And I'm coming back to COVID as a trigger. So you mentioned trauma, and so I mean, even I guess the fear around the transformation that's taking place with COVID. Maybe that's the trigger. Is that fear? Is it?
I think the fear is fueled as well because, you know, when we used to talk about transformation, we had an A and a B, specifically in a coaching concept. You know, you're kind of like, okay, you're here, where do you want to go? You have a clear goal, go for it, and we eliminate all whatever is in between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
With the COVID situation, this doesn't work because um, we just don't know where we will be next year. You know, we don't
sure,
even know where we will be in 2 months. Are we
sure.
still in lockdown? Can we travel around? Um, and this is, and then, you know, I think the reality has clicked in of, okay, we are moving into quite a dramatic economic crisis, most likely. Um, Environmentally, we haven't very good score, you know, that kind of like
Yeah,
we've really messed it up.
yeah,
And that's coming in as well. So,
yeah,
really doesn't look very tempting to plan anything into the future, doesn't it?
yeah, sure.
So that all brings up a lot of fear. And again, that's why I think it is so incredibly important that we really nurture this safe space within ourselves, that we are aware of who we really are, what we really want, um, and how to get to that safe space within ourselves. That's the A and O and the alpha and omega. Because if I know this and if I have nurtured that space, if I have made it a habit to go back to that place, I can do that wherever I am. Yeah.
Mm.
I can do that no matter what happens around me.
Sure. So is there an opportunity, Esther, with people taking time out, slowing down, reflecting on, I mean, especially in the business world, because of the transformations in the business world, and for women in business to take this opportunity to reflect, if you like, on emerging business trends and on different leadership sort of models, if you like. Yeah?
Yes, if we take the time to reflect, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because the fear is so dominant, and I'm sure this will become even more if the economic situation, and for some people it is up here. You know, I'm very aware that I'm quite privileged because my business was already a lot online. Um, but it's a difference if we look at something that comes up as an opportunity from a place of fear, or from a place of safety and security, or from a place of love, if you want it like that. But
Yeah.
it's this, if I, no matter how my accounts look like, and no matter how my children may be, or whatever, I still find this place of safety and security within myself, to look at an emerging new situation. I make different decisions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes, sir. And it's
Yeah.
like, I guess, in the holistic space, you do the inner work first, and then the outer circumstances automatically change, if you like.
Yes. And I think, you know, looking back, as I said, I'm here in Ireland for 20 years. When I came here and I started to teach yoga in the west of Ireland, uh, yoga was something quite exotic. Yeah. A little bit like jackfruits or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you've heard about it, but you know, that's it. Today, everybody, almost everybody is doing a yoga teacher training.
Yeah.
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 So things have really massively changed, but it takes also a certain amount of time. But then there is a momentum, and we can talk. So a lot of people have done inner work,
Yeah.
but the perception of what I've done can be very different as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, okay, this is maybe, I know quite a good bit of psychotherapists, and I would not like to exclude myself, who had phases in their lives where it became obvious that yes, they have done 20 years of therapy and courses and workshops, yet there was a point that nobody from the outside world dared to lift the carpet and says, you have a stinking rat under that. uh, so and nobody, you know, it's this tabooing almost that we sometimes do, especially when they are the big gurus. um, so it takes a momentum to say, well, there is some work that you haven't done on yourself. Yeah. So yeah, and again, 20 years ago, doing things like that was weird. You know, I always said everybody goes to the dentist when they have a toothache, but if you have a soul ache or a mind ache, people were kind of like, I can do that myself. No, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah. This is deep in
Yeah.
the mind as well.
Yeah. Or they can go to the chemist and buy some tablets, and that'll fix it.
Yes, and unfortunately, this is still from a lot of GPs the attitude as well. You know, it's that
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
again, it takes two to dance the tango. You know,
Yeah.
it's that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Sure.
but yes, leadership from within. That's why would be the first step,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
before we go out as women and change the world.
Yeah.
which we do anyhow. But
And we talked about this before, Esther, but women being at the forefront of this new movement, if you like, that's the way you would that's the way you would see it happening, yeah.
well, I do see the changes that women have gone through, even in my generation. I was born in the late 50s. Um, I'm Swiss, so just to put this into perspective,
Yeah,
because I have heard so many times in Ireland, oh yes, we've been so behind because blah blah blah. Switzerland wasn't in any ways better. Women were only allowed to vote in 72, I think
oh,
72 or
yeah,
74. Okay,
yeah,
so just to put this into perspective, before that, the voice of women was not considered as to be meaningful
yeah,
enough to,
yeah. That's
so,
only
and this
only
is a
50 years ago, yeah.
reflection, if you think about that, a
Yeah,
reflection that as a woman you get every day. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
We still have one canton where I think the women are still not allowed to vote in the community. I'm not sure. I haven't updated that for a couple of years because I
yeah,
thought I'm not going there. Kind of like it's fine.
yeah,
But just to put this, I remember it was only again at the beginning of the 70s when the law was changed in the way before that. If my mother wanted to move city, move the apartment, she would not have been allowed to sign the contract.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
she would not be allowed to be the one who says, "But yes, we do that." But my dad would have been.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
just so.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and here we are today, and I always have to look back, and I love to read stories sometimes. Um, who deal with that, because to keep this in mind, the world that we have today as women has come very fast in a way.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
there were massive changes, massive movements. There was the feminist movement in the 60s, 70s, that has gone into another wave, and it's a different wave. We don't burn our bras anymore. No need for that. Okay, but it also has a lot of disadvantages. I can see this for young women. It was just, I read that somewhere today, um, that it was, as we talked about before, it's the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women today. Um, and they were talking about in this article about young women being exposed to sexual harassment and violence in a amount that I'm not sure has not been talked about,
yeah,
or has not been there, so it comes with different challenges. And there is a incredible pressure in women to be perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, that's something that I feel has increased. Um, or maybe again, it just comes through more, um, which isn't helpful. It doesn't help women, not personally, but also not in the big. We're all human. We're all imperfect. We're all work in progress,
sure. Yeah,
and to learn to love and accept that is a part of the program as well.
yeah, yeah. And I guess, I mean, the whole journey, the journey that we're all on in this life, men and women, is that journey of transformation, and a journey of finding the essence of who you are and what your purpose is, Esther. So that's the sort of work. It's sort of a deep spiritual work that you do. Yeah.
It, yeah, it certainly is. This is who I am as well. But um, I've been over the decades in spiritual circles, and one thing for me was always, yeah, but how do we bring this down to earth?
Yeah.
How do I make this happen, and how do I make my struggles transform in a daily life? It's I mean, we have that in the yoga community, left, right, and center at the moment, that the gurus really stumble from their pedestal because they were talking all these high, wonderful sentences and how we are and how we should be and how we should become. And if we just pay another course and we do another training with them,
Yeah.
then we will become this as well. And then suddenly it turns out, well, they have abused little kids and children, and or some of they had their 10 women around them, or just abused people on emotional, spiritual levels, and has left a lot of damage behind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, this is, I was very, very tempted in spring to set up a website that is called Guru Yoga, because if you take the word guru, um, it says gu is darkness and the ru is light.
Yes.
So the guru guides you from the darkness of your unconscious to the light of awareness.
Yeah.
And I do like the word, so, but I also would love to see women much deeper connect to trust their inner guru. It's about that. It's that
Yeah.
um, that beautiful mantra I've learned uh, from Uma Tinsmurtuli. With deep respect and love, I honor my heart, my inner teacher. So this is the essence, in a way,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
for my courses as well, because I'm not
Sure.
providing solutions. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about that.
It's a way of connecting, I guess, connecting people with that inner teacher. That's really the,
Yes,
the teacher's job, if you like, to connect people with their own inner teacher.
yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you for that. Yes, that's and the funny thing is, it's it's something that um, I certainly heard in the 80s the first time, this lead from the heart, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the yoga, which is beautiful, isn't it? Okay, how on earth do I do this when I sit in the kitchen, or when I
Yeah.
do, when I'm in front of a
Yeah.
pile of washing and I have absolutely no intention to do the washing? How do I lead from the heart?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
today, we have really the science. There is this website, HeartMath. I
That's
don't know
right.
if you've
Yeah.
come across that.
Yeah.
They do
Absolutely.
research for the last 20 years about the nervous system of the heart.
Yeah.
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 So, and the nervous system, we have 3 nodes in the heart. So they found out that before the brain even clicks in, the heart already reacts to
Yeah.
something that it picked up from the outside or from the inside.
Yeah.
And then it signals to the brain, and the signals from the heart to the brain are much more often
Yeah.
than what comes from here.
Sure.
So this is where I thought, great, wonderful. This brings us back to lead from the heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the chakra system, the heart is the fourth chakra. It's
Yeah.
the middle point.
Yeah.
So the 3 spiritual chakras, uh, the 3 materialized chakras,
Yeah.
the first, they are only in balance when the heart is in balance.
Yeah.
When the heart is really the balance point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Fascinating, yeah. And as you say, like, I mean, people like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and these guys, I mean, the science now is the science, I guess the coming together of science and spirituality, Esther, the new sort of
yeah,
the new enlightenment, if you like, is that connection. And
absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It's what the church has always tried to provide to stop, since middle age.
yeah,
It's that, yeah.
yeah,
And they had reasons, because it's the church's powers diminish as people
yes,
start to evolve from inside.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And right throughout society. I mean, the whole emphasis on society, I guess, is power and retaining power. All these institutions, so for me, the holistic approach is giving that power back to people, empowering people.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's
That's why leadership from within.
yeah,
If you know, if you are connected to your leadership inside, you are much less messed around.
yeah,
You know, you're much less in danger to be abused. I don't say not at all, yeah, um, but you're much faster aware of it,
yeah,
uh, and you have tools to change it
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
If not, sometimes we need to bang our nose on
yes,
certain walls or people.
yeah,
Um, but then at least, you know, okay, I just have to come back and sort
yeah,
out and what has happened there really.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
okay as well. You know, that's
Sure,
why I
yeah.
said we are work in progress. We're not.
That's right, yeah. And I find that in my journey, the toolkits, if you like, you mentioned the toolkits for that transformational work, the holistic community really have all of those tools, if you like. Uh,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. Unfortunately, as well, and this is something that I have already, you know, seen as a young nurse, the holistic parts of medicine have been poo-pooed, have been uh, shamed, have been blamed for decades.
yeah,
And it took really a lot of persistence and resilience and, you know, whatever, to still hold it and to come to the level where it is today.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It certainly was not an easy journey. And I'm not just talking about myself. I
sure,
talk,
yeah,
uh, you know, I've seen it from so many colleagues and through so many times. But it is coming through. It's and people have choices today. You know, even with the social medias today, yes, you can get a lot of crap information, but you also can learn a lot of really interesting things that without the social medias we would not have access
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, some fantastic, Esther, and so yeah, I guess the journey, we're all on the same journey, if you like. And for me, in the Your Holistic Academy project, I'm finding that there's just so many incredible therapists out there, and obviously we want to support, we want to develop a support platform for that and develop a community of holistic practitioners who who I believe have the answers. And so that's the job, if you like, is to connect people and connect people back to themselves. Yeah, and that's I guess that's the work that you do is every day in your life. Yeah,
yes, and I'm with the Holistic Academy for a couple of months now.
yeah,
I have to say I'm really delighted to be a part of that
yeah,
group because
yeah,
it's amazingly, it's helpful, it's beautiful to be a part of that.
yeah,
And I can see it has given me the focus of from
yeah,
wow, what's this? To okay, this is really what do I want? What do I want with my work? What is
yeah.
my, and a deep sense of there is help out there if I need it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the beautiful thing. And
yeah,
it's certainly I can really recommend every holistic practitioner to join
yeah,
and to become part of this movement. And I I do believe that you know we need to act as tribes.
yeah. Sure. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's not easy to find a tribe that really sits with me. That's
yeah. Sure. Yeah,
some people are
yeah.
easier with that, and
Yeah.
um,
Well, I'm really delighted, Esther, that we've welcomed you into our tribe, and we were delighted to have you as part of our team at the Holistic Academy, and looking forward so much to get to work with you. So how can people reach you, get in touch with you? Obviously on the Your Holistic Academy platform, they can reach you there, but also
Yes.
how else can they reach you, Esther?
At the moment, it's mainly through my website, the wildatlanticwomen.com.
Yeah.
So that will, women who go through the website can see a little bit of my background as well. What are my trainings, which sometimes I think is important to know what brings somebody into the game. But also the intention really of the work, I think is there. I've tried to express it in best possible ways, but also what I offer right at the moment is really there are just 3 packages if you want to one sessions with me. But as I said before, I'm working on 8-week online courses. So the first one will come out on the 1st of February. And then every 3 months will be a follow-up to that. So if anybody wants to be informed and stay informed about that, they can sign up for the newsletter. And there is a Facebook group as well. So that's all on the website. And
that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. So we'll put those details into the comments with this video as well. And Esther, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
I'm so delighted to get the opportunity to looking forward so much to working with you in the future as well, Esther. Yeah.
Yes, good. Thank you so much, John, for inviting me in the first place to the Holistic Academy, but also to inviting me for this interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care, Esther.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.